asking myself, if our head of school left because they have vision difference, but or difference in the vision of the church,
But we don't know what your
then,
vision is.
then what is that? So I need to know so that I can decide if I'm in alignment with that too.
I have spoken with her. I have spoken with her, and
Yeah.
I would really appreciate you have us here at 7 o'clock at night. I have children at home. My husband's out of town. Like, I don't have time to waste. So either we need to be fully transparent tonight and lay out the truth of it, like factual information. Or we will have to have Mrs. Burnett come in here with you and say it. Like, this is unfair to us to just hem and haw about it. We need specifics.
You're not.
This is our livelihood. This is our ministry. This is our family invested here. I've been here 11 years.
21.
Let,
20.
count it out, say it.
30.
We need specifics. We can't just beat around the bush. What specific things can she not agree with you on?
Because we know her vision and that's why we are here. And that's why we're not in the public schools, is because
Absolutely.
we absolutely support and stand behind her vision for this school.
Yeah.
Or else we all have had opportunities to leave this job. And we chose not to do that because we believe in the vision she has for the school. So if you have a different vision for the school, you need to lay it all out there so that we all have an opportunity to say, you know what, can we support that or can we not?
Yeah,
And our families are the same.
Yeah,
Our
parents are
family
talking.
visions are the same.
yeah.
Parents are talking, Pastor Bob. I'm a parent. I'm also a staff member. I had several parents reach out to me. Angela, are we okay? I knew we were okay under Mrs. Burnett. Okay, you already know the emails we exchanged about Brooks. I was so welcoming and wanted him in my classroom. I never even met with you all. I got an email and then Mrs. Burnett was the middle person and said that he's not going to be in there. He's going to Marshall Elementary. Sorry, they're not going to have the meeting with you. I set up coverage for the classroom and everything.
Okay,
So-
so I'm the mom of Brooks.
Okay.
And we were told we wanted Brooks in this.
Okay.
We were told at the very final hour
Mhm.
that Brooks was not allowed to attend this. school.
That,
Okay.
ladies, that is
So,
not
and
true.
we're-
It's not.
It
true.
is true.
Okay,
And we
then
have
we can
emails to
provide,
back
we
it up.
can provide
We will do that.
documentation.
So I'm sorry that that was the impression that you received because that was not accurate.
What I would add.
But please
is-
know, parents
Yeah.
are talking.
Sure,
I'm
I'm
trying to
sorry.
figure out if I'm going to homeschool or if I'm gonna, my kids are going to 6th and 7th grade.
Yeah, I'm sorry that hurt your feelings. I asked Miss Burnett what her advice was at that point. I said, should I go and let her know that we have had this meeting and that we're putting our son in the public school? And she said, I will handle it for you. And so I did follow her advice on that. Maybe I should have come to you directly, but I admit, I just followed her advice. So I am sorry. And I
did
perceive that
follow
as well.
her
And I,
advice,
Yeah.
but just the face-to-face.
Yes.
Hi, Angela. Hi,
Yes,
Pastor.
right.
I know who you are based
yes,
off of.
yep. And,
you know.
and we had a very nice first exchange and all of that.
Okay,
And
we
so,
really can't derail. We
Yeah.
have lives outside of this. We need the specifics of what there's no alignment on.
Yeah.
Please, I beg of you, or I will have to share what has been shared with me because I had a personal meeting with her. If you want me to do that, I'm more than glad to do that.
Yeah.
So they all know, but we need transparency right now.
so here's the hard part is that I don't want to speak for her.
Okay,
I
then
don't
I will
speak for
give her
yourself.
permission to speak for
For
her.
the church.
And then you can say if it's in
Okay.
alignment agreement.
I mean, if you want to speak for her, I
Okay,
just don't want to
perfect.
do that.
I'll just share what she shared and
Because
then
when
you can let
people-
us know if
Because
it's
the
what she
professional
said.
courtesy is when people resign,
Right,
I didn't let her go or ask her.
but
to
you didn't
resign.
try to keep her.
And
You didn't
That was
try
gonna be our
keep her.
next
Yeah,
question.
that
Did
was
you,
my
was there
question.
any, because anytime we thought about resigning, there have been things that have happened. She's been there. Trust me, she has been there. I've been in her office. I've cried with this woman.
yeah,
So did you
Okay,
invite
so
the meeting
was that
already?
even a part of it? Hey, Miss Burnett, let's work this out, especially if she was under this vision and you all had this alignment prior to. What happened? We got an email. I was sitting at the breakfast table with my whole family and said, excuse me, as I ran up to my room and cried.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand, that was so swift.
Right.
What changed in that alignment, that vision, all of those things that we're all in support of.
Yeah.
But she's now leaving. Like, I'm trying to express to my children what we're gonna do come the fall.
So can I just, so
Sure.
I think it might be helpful if we stick to real issues. So it will be helpful not to hear what Ms. Burnett said, but what it would be very helpful to hear from policy one
Right.
is going away. And this is policy one.
Yeah.
Policy 18 is being introduced.
If you could
and this is
please
what
share.
it is.
Okay, sure.
Because then it's about what.
Yeah,
you're
okay, I
doing
can tell you.
not-
Yeah.
I can tell you. Yep.
That's what I said. What are your specific
Yeah.
policies?
Yeah. Okay, so, so my answer would be that and I don't know if you're gonna believe me, but I don't have any policies that are proposed to be changed. I don't have any,
Okay,
But
so
they're asking
my
what are the
policy,
but I can answer your question though.
where's the alignment?
Yeah,
and
I can answer your question.
Okay,
So, we, we had a meeting, back in February. And when I came here, I sat down with Miss Burnett and we went through the employment policy manual line by line. Each sitting next to each other the whole way through. I highlighted questions, she gave me answers, we went through the whole thing, we made a couple changes, we did that together, right? Then we went to the next meeting, which was the student meeting. So there's the employment manual and then the student meeting. So we went through that one, same thing, I just highlighted it point by point, and it took several meetings. We got done with it. And so both of those were completely updated, and I learned a lot about the school and what we do and the policies and we made some changes. So what I didn't know is that there's this other manual that existed that I just have never seen. So in 4 years, I've never seen our operations manual. How many of you have seen our operations manual? This is my point. We have a manual that exists, that drives our church, culture, governance, policies, discipline, it's all in there. And it is old and outdated, and it needs to be updated. It was written over a decade ago, and it's not currently being even followed. So when I read it, I said to Ashley,
who's not following it though?
the,
Like, we need specifics, like, we have to make
Yeah.
career
He's
decisions,
going,
you know?
he's explaining it.
But the
and you keep
specifics of,
cutting him off.
but you can't just say a generalization.
I think he's still going. Just give him a second. Go ahead.
You need to let him speak. You need to-
I know, but you're,
Because you're
Okay,
not
Daphne, I don't
understanding
know.
this. This is our livelihood.
no, I don't understand. We've
No,
never-
you don't understand that. What is it, our church? You said operation,
Yeah,
you said our church.
oh,
Don't say
it's the school.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen it if it pertains to the.
And we're
church.
not administration, Pastor Bob.
No,
We're
it's-
not the
That's
administration.
right. So the answer is administration.
Right, so you asked if we'd seen it. Of course not, because we're.
Yeah.
So that's fine. It's totally fine. It's not a church operation manual. It's all for the school. So I had never seen it. I read it. And there's things we're not doing. And
Like what?
like the advisory board. The advisory board is not operating the way it's set up in your manual, okay? So if I was to hold accountable our administration according to following the operations manual, you would be breach of your operations manual.
Okay, so what in there was advisory not
So
followed?
what I did is I talked to her and we got together and I said, here are the things that, are not happening. She agreed with me. She said, yep, that's true. And she said, do you know how many times I looked at the operation manual? Not that much. And she said, I don't even agree with all the things that are in the operational manual because they were written a long time
Okay,
ago.
this is
And she
hearsay.
said,
Hearsay. It's
what are
hearsay.
you talking about?
It's
This
hearsay.
was
You
my-
didn't say she said.
Okay.
Because she's not here. You did not invite her to this
Okay,
meeting to.
well, we're getting to the point where you may
Okay.
need to step out
I will
because I
not.
need to talk to people
I will,
and
but you need
I
to
would
be
like to do that.
truthful.
But she,
You need to be truthful.
and she's our leader.
Yeah, right. So I mean, well, I can, I mean, well,
They are
if-
my family.
I'm just
They're
trying to
my
answer the
people.
question.
But
so.
you're not answering it.
So we had that meeting. And so she agreed that it needed to be rewritten and she said, well, let's rewrite the manual. So then after we started doing that, I just have been like highlighting the manual. It's 15 pages and then it points to a lots of appendices. So there are 8 of them. So I haven't got to all of them at all, I haven't read all of them, but like the first one is the Constitution and bylaws for Christ Chapel. It says on there, like when you read the policy manual, it says, so refer to the appendices, number 1. But when I open up appendices number 1, I look at it and it was rewritten and there are a couple articles in there that were added about the school that are not that's not our official bylaws for our church. So in other words, it's saying, here's the bylaws of Christ Chapel, and we follow that. But then when you read it, it had with someone inserted some extra articles that have not been approved by the elders and ratified by the people. So it's not a correct bylaw copy. So I pointed that out to her. I said, did you know that? And she said, I did not know that. I said, okay, well, that's one that we need to update. So after doing that, we had a conversation. She made a recommendation. She said, I know we're working on this policy manual, but I would recommend we not do it this year during the accreditation review. And I said, okay, that sounds good. We won't do anything this year until the accreditation review. So we haven't done anything. This is why I'm saying I don't have any policies that we're
I have something to
proposing.
that.
Yes,
She made that statement after she resigned.
that's true.
So we need to be honest, Pastor Bob. Like you are the lead pastor here and we are here as the Christ Chapel Academy staff and we need transparency. Please. Please.
Yeah,
But you're not like, what, we're.
So that's
but
that's the
what are we
policy.
not aligning on? What does she not agree with that would cause her to, on a Saturday, send a resignation? What things did she not agree with?
Yeah, but is it okay that I'm surprised as well? I can't speak. I
don't
didn't
think
resign,
maybe-
ask her to resign. I don't know what I just told you is
You're not-
not a reason to resign, in my opinion. So
So the whole thing is, there was
No.
somebody drug out that was written 10
No.
years ago. and
Yes.
Nobody agree on it, and so now we here.
Right.
About our head of schools, and we looking internationally, worldwide, for a new leader. Oh.
Over a policy 10 years ago?
Over
That's-
policy 10 years ago today.
That
So
you're
this
not
is,
even
this is
rewriting
what I'm
until
hearing.
after.
And we're not rewriting it until next year.
That's-
That's
What I'm
correct.
saying is, how can you not be aligned if nothing's being written next year?
Hold up.
Because she stated that she doesn't agree with the church's involvement in the school. So,
What
Involvement.
involvement? What involvement?
well,
Yeah,
that,
well,
I don't know.
Yep.
You tell me, what involvement?
So Pastor Bob,
You know what?
my husband works for a church as
Yeah.
well, and they're very transparent. I love my church, and there are some things we've always been the same with when it comes to financials. When it comes to head of school, principals, things of all of that, we've always agreed it's definitely better to have the church and the school separate due to budgets,
Okay,
all kinds
well,
of
that's
things.
not the way that this organization's designed.
Okay.
When I arrived here, because I didn't set it up this way, when I arrived here, you have one organization. You have a church that started a school 30 years ago. And so you have an elder board. The elder board, you have one board. So that's your school board officially, is you have one elder board, period, for the entire thing. So they delegate the operational day-to-day operations to the lead pastor for all of its ministries, which includes the school. So I am technically over all of the ministries of the entire organization, day to day. That's how the structure's set up. That's what she doesn't agree with. That's how it is set up. So then from there, you have leaders from each department. So we have pastors and then we have a head of school. So the head of school, I need a head of school. I'm not running the school. So I know but I am responsible. So I'm responsible that the school is healthy and grows and accomplishes the mission of the church. Because the school was started to accomplish a mission. And it's not, it's not just education, it's education and a Christian worldview. So that is part of our mission. I am ultimately responsible for that to happen. So when I see a policy manual that just is outdated, that I ask for that to be updated, right? So, I mean, that's just part of my responsibility. When I see an article that cites this is the Constitution and bylaws of Christ Chapel, and it's not accurate, I just want to see it updated.
But you guys already decided that you're going to update
We
it, so
did,
in time.
Yeah.
But my question is, so
yeah,
can you remediate her resignation? If this is something that is just because, of course, you guys are the pastors, so you are over it all. But Mrs. Burnett is the head over the school. And so let her run the school. Why
I'd have to have a conversation with her because and now, like I said, I didn't ask her to resign, but now we're in a place. So now I have a leader in one of our ministries, that has, just publicly said, well, I'm not in alignment with this church. So
That's not what she said. That's
The-
not what she said.
what did she say?
She said she's not in alignment with the policies that you are enacting for the school.
Leadership.
Okay, well,
For the school.
I just
But what
explained,
are those?
no, there's none. No, so you're gonna have to find a policy that I'm enacting. I don't have one. I just literally, you just either have to believe me or I'm just lying to you.
Well, I'm telling you, we're
Because-
gonna believe Mrs. Burnett.
No,
We've
I can't help that. I
been
can't help you
with
that
her,
if
Pastor
you-
Bob,
if that's
for
the
all
case.
these.
So
So,
I'm
but
answering the question.
would you stop for a second and just
Yeah.
hear our heart?
Yeah, I want to.
Our heart
Yes.
is that we have been with her for years. I've been in this school and I've been in the church longer than the school. But the point is that all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, we ended our school year, everything was great. And everything, we were all shocked.
Yeah.
And stunned.
Yep.
To receive an email that said she was not in line. And we know, listen, we know stuff. We know that the church and the school are not in line together because there has been no unity, and that's not
And
hold on a second.
okay, I just wanted.
That's not a secret.
Yeah,
Things were done to me, and that's why I'm not here. That's why I'm not in the church anymore. I was here long before you guys were here, and this was my church. I'm still trying to find a church, and I cannot find one. And I'm having a very difficult time because Christ Chapel was my church for many, many years. I've been involved in ministry after ministry after ministry here, and likewise the school.
yeah,
And so our heart, though, is that Mrs. Burnett is our leader. She knows every single one of us. How many of these teachers
Yeah.
how many of them? You know my name because I just can't keep my mouth shut. But it's the truth. But, a lot of these people you don't know. You haven't taken the time to be a part of us.
Yeah.
And so when we see this email, all we see is Mrs. Burnett is being chiseled away day by day by day by day, because you don't like this, you don't like that, you don't like this, you don't like that. We are doing a biblical worldview. Every single one of these teachers in this room
Yeah.
does a biblical worldview. That's what he was just talking about.
That's.
We lead our children to the Lord, and we spend time in God's word. We talk with them when they are hurting. We pray with them when they're hurting. None of the things that you're saying is anything that's different than what we already believe, except that our leader now, that we love,
Yeah.
is now saying, this is a problem. This is a problem. I can't support this. So we want to know specifically, we don't, you guys fix the manual. That's up to you and her.
Okay, yeah,
But what we want to know is what it is that she has to walk away from, that she's been supporting all these years, all these 8 years.
He's made very
It's
clear
not
that.
simple.
yeah, I
That's all
mean,
her to
can
this
you,
place.
you could ask her what policy, if you've been talking to her, because I don't have a policy. that-
Obviously, she
It-
doesn't.
it's just,
not in alignment with something you said.
The policy
Just
word
say to her
aside.
She is not
Yeah.
in alignment.
Well, Pat, may I please?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Why don't you address for us changes to the budget? You know, the school budget was X, the church budget is Y. Why now is it perceived that the church cannot make its own budget? And that money had to be taken from the school to cover the church budgets, that the church is in such bad shape from
Yeah,
a
sure.
budget standpoint, that now that
Yeah.
it all changed.
Sure.
It almost feels to me like all the money's gonna be sucked from the school.
Yeah.
Given to the church for
Okay.
audio, video systems
Well, I
and
mean,
displays.
do you believe
And if
that?
you look at all the churches in the
Yeah.
surrounding area, if you look at all the churches in the surrounding area, it's the exact same scenario that has happened to every single one of them. Emmanuel, Heritage, and all the rest. And I think that's the core issue that
Okay.
I'm afraid of,
Okay,
because I've been here for 30 years.
sure.
I give you IT support for nothing, okay? And I just feel like these teachers are busting their butts and they're not paid a lot of money either. And it's
Right.
potentially gonna be where they're gonna be paid less, they're gonna have less money to do the school things that are required. Your janitorial support staff, your IT support staff, your staff that's doing your scheduling,
Sure.
your staff that's doing all your school activities,
Okay.
the bus drivers. You look at all that critical source staff and, it's like you can just slash $9.8 billion from the federal government today and, I mean, it just doesn't affect anything. I think that's kind of where I personally need to hear from you
I
and
can answer.
explain why the
Yeah.
church has to take the school
Okay.
money now.
So the church is solvent, the school's solvent. So,
That's not necessarily
not
true.
true.
I think the church has had to take school money to cover your monthly budget.
so, sorry, my mind goes to three different ways to answer it, but number one, we were audited every year. We have a business meeting with our membership. We let the membership know and we put out the financials. We print a compilation, we let everyone see it, and it shows you the numbers. We have the reports. I mean, it's something you can see. So you don't have to believe me, just look it up. Our whole organization together, our CPA, came and made a statement to us. And it was very flowery, very complimentary, saying that you're in great standing, you have wonderful reserves. I mean, so this was our last business meeting that we had. Is church easy? No, it's not easy. Are there a lot of things that you have to pay for? There are. And so it is a challenge to spin all the plates for sure. I'm not saying it's not. But when I came in to the church, we had decline. So it's normal, when you,
You had $500,000 worth of funds
So-
available, and it was spent within less than the first year. Funds that were available for the board for you, and it was spent in less than the first year. I mean, that in value got no budget surplus.
I mean, okay, I can explain these things. I mean, you're saying them like you are informed, but
Like you've got.
I mean,
But-
it's
but
not.
Again,
So the church has an elder board.
Yeah.
They look at our money every single month. And I don't do this in a vacuum. We have a committee, we have a board. Their job is, I'm accountable to them. So my job is to keep us, financially good and spiritually good. So any questions you have about the church's finances, that's what they're there for. You can ask them, that they're the ones that approve it and vote on it every single month. Then we have an audit. It comes out every single year and we give it to the congregation. I mean, that's the accountability and the level of transparency. So I hope that helps you to know that.
But who's
I
signing
think-
off
I
on the
think-
audit this year?
the,
Who's signing off on the audit this year? Is it your current company?
we do not have, the current company is the bookkeeper, Louis.
Okay, and is he signing off on your audit this year?
He is not.
Can you tell us why?
Yes, he said that his company, is, been recommended. He was doing an audit for us every single year. Usually in the church world, you have like a 3 or a 5 year audit. We were having an audit annually every single year. And that was because we were told that our bank required it. So that's what I was told when I came. The churches I've been at before, I mean, it's expensive. Usually you don't do an audit every single year. It's usually 3 or every 5 years. So we had an agreement with them and it was only like 15,000 that we're paying. And so it's an affordable audit every year. He came to us and said that he had a peer review and they just said, your bookkeeper, that's on staff, and then you we just feel like you're a little too close to the situation and it'd be better if you weren't the person who's doing the audit. So he agreed and he said, I've been doing this for many, many years. I think now's the time for me to, I'll still give you all your reports and I will give you all your statements and do all of your checks and do that. Basically, he said the same thing that I've always done, except that I'm not going to be legally liable now. So he said, that's what my peer group is recommending to me. So he said, you can still go out and get your own audit if you want, but he said, I don't think you need that. He said, I don't think you need that. What you need, and he said, I didn't know this, but I called your bank. They don't need the audit every year. So he said, if they just get my reports, that suffices and they're fine. They want to see the information.
So
From-
it would
from
be
the
okay
accountant.
if we spoke to the accountant to confirm that? Would that be okay for the church?
Sure.
Okay, and then secondly, can you tell us how much tuition money is currently given to the church? And what it will look like next year?
Sure. I want to go back to what you're saying though and answer your question. So when I came here, our church had a deficit in their budget. Okay, when I arrived, and it was almost $500,000 projected deficit. So what did I do? I mean, it's like I show up, hi, here's your budget, and I had to work on it. So what I did is I started cutting. And we cut from our expenses. And we ended the year just barely in the black. And so to me, that's a victory. That's a win. That's good stewardship. That's yay, Pastor Bob, for coming in and bringing our church out of the hole and ending the year in a positive. So then then I'm here. So now you have year 2, year 3, year 4, and you have transition. People are at the church saying, I tried it for a year. It's not my thing. I'm out of here. And so they went somewhere else. So that's expected. That the experts say at the very, very best, you're gonna get 10% every single year. That would be a good number. That's about what we saw, 10 to 20% per year for the next couple of years. So as people were moving on, we saw, new people coming in. So we've had about 25% turnover in our church over that time. One of the goals was to get younger. That was a goal that I was given by the elder board. They said, we're not getting any younger. Need you to help us attract young families. We've been running a schedule to try to do that. That's why you see intentionally screens and, changing the lobby, and that's what that's all about. It is about the biggest window to reaching families is children. I mean, if you can minister to their kids, I was a children's pastor for 15 years. So kids are what make me cry. That's my thing. I have adopted 6 kids. I care about it. So we've been making changes to try to do that. And we had some reserves. We sold the thing for the tower, and you put money in an account. Right now, we have $750,000 sitting in an account from there, making interest every year. 200,000 in our savings account. That's what we are right now. Every single week on Thursday, I get a report. We have $1 million every single week. So we're not falling off cliff, and we're reaching new families. It takes time. It takes a strategy. It takes a leader. So that's what we're doing. And the school matters to me. If we didn't want a school, we wouldn't have one. I want a school. I love my kids are in the school. My kids' future depends on our school. So with the finances, what I said to her, which what you're saying, you're quoting my meeting with her,
Please don't clap.
is that what I said to her is that the $500,000 is amounts of cuts that I've had to make. So what I was asking her to do is to join me in being able to work together on the budget. And if there are cuts that we need to make, let's do them. This is what I explained. I said, you have a bucket. I said, the way that you budget is you take a bucket and you say, here's my bucket. How do you make all your rocks fit in the budget, in the bucket? You take your big rocks and you put them in first, right? So you take, what's your big rocks? Salaries. You put your building, and you can't need a parking lot. So your facility is a big rock. Your people are a big rock. And then, you start filling with the smaller rocks around it, and equipment and different things. And so, and eventually when you do it that way, all the smaller things kind of fit in around it, and you've made your budget. So we have a real tangible need, and it is 140,000 square foot building that's used by the school ministry 6 out of the 7 days. So what I did is I asked we have an amount of money that was established 20 years ago to help reimburse the costs of running a full-time school ministry out of a church. What does that cost? I mean, if you didn't have it, those costs would go down. So what needs to get reimbursed there? What is the cost of doing school for the facility? So I asked our accountant, same guy. I asked him, I said, can you look at the numbers? Because I don't know that. I can't do that. So I said, look at the numbers and see how much do we have in margin every year that we can use to move internally, to help pay for the annual operating costs that are being used by the school, and the non-annual operating costs, like the things that, like in your house, things that you don't have to do every year, but it's the things that every 5 years they come up or every 3 years. You have to budget for that and put it away. No one's been doing that. That's not been happening. There's
On
no
the church
line item
side
for
or
that.
school side?
So what I did,
School's been doing that.
so what I did is the school sends an amount to the checking account to pay
How much?
the
How
different
much?
people.
How much do we pay?
It's $625,000 out of a $7 million operating budget.
Out of.
It's
the
2%.
parents' Tuition, okay? How much does
So,
building like electricity? all
yeah,
of that
so
cost as a
here's what we
company?
did. So we did an entire breakdown. We used our accountant. They printed out every single expense that the school incurs. And we did a whole sheet, a whole spreadsheet. We looked at all of the spaces and they broke it all down. All of the utilities, the insurance, the HVAC, the electric, everything that goes into it, parking lot, just everything that's operational. So they broke it down. The accountant came in and he said, you are $250,000 in the black every single year. And he said, I have looked back over several years. This is what your average is. It's literally the margin. It's like the profit is $250,000. So he said, that's what you have to play with to pay for the rest of the things that you need without having to increase tuition. You don't have to do anything to tuition. It's an internal budget payment to pay for the building that we literally consume. So I said, okay, let's go talk about it. So we had Miss Burnett in the room, we had our business administrator in the room, we had our bookkeeper company in the room, the accountant, and we had the chairman of our board in the room for accountability to loop everybody in that we knew what to do. And we just simply said, this is what we would like to do. She did not agree. So this is one of the fundamental differences, is she just didn't agree that it could be increased. Yeah.
Okay, so I have two questions.
Sure.
First of all, it sounds like when you were talking about the operational manual, it sounds like there's one sticking point in the operational manual, and arguably that one sticking point in the appendice speaks to exactly what you're talking about, where it comes to financial stewardship of the church and the school and how those things are interrelated. Is that what the sticking point is that you wanted to review? Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
When you said you were talking about the operational manual and you were looking at the appendices, and there's certain things in the appendices that really aren't aligned with,
Well, it was just
what
the
is-
one appendice that
right.
was about the bylaws,
right?
and it just
But
wasn't.
does the bylaws address this particular question?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, that was my question. And then the second one is you said, this is what we'd like to do. So what? Subsume all or some
Yes.
part of that extra?
Yes. to
all of
increase-
it.
Not all of it.
But
So-
That's what's my question.
Yep, we backed it down. We talked about a number that, what wasn't the whole thing. We wanted to still leave margin. But definitely, basically this number had not been adjusted in 20 years. And so it was time for a readjustment with costs, and everything is more expensive. And so that's what, again, I'm responsible for everything. So this is what I asked her to do, is to increase that using guidance, financial experts, can we do this? And the answer was yes. And so that's what I asked her to do. I also brought in a real estate consultant. And I said, hey, can you help me understand, what should that number be? I mean, just help me with context. I mean, what should it be? I've heard it called rent. It's not rent, because there's no landlord. We're one, it's like you don't pay yourself rent. So it's just a ministry in our church. So I think the more appropriate word for this amount of money is it's a reimbursement, right? It's for expenses, because there's just one checking account for the church, so we pay the electric bill and we pay the water bill and we pay for upgrades and I mean, so it's a reimbursement for the things that get consumed. So I asked this consultant, I said, give me some kind of an idea. He said, if we took the 100,000 square feet, just of the school, not the auditorium that's used for all the things we use it for and the other rooms, but just the 100,000 that's there. We said, what would it cost if we weren't here and we had to go somewhere else? I mean, just for comparison. So he ran it. He said, within 30 miles, if you keep your current constituency, if you keep that group within a 30-mile radius, he said it's $2.2 million a year. And he said that's just because it's super expensive, and that would be if you rented. And if you rented it, you have to pay someone's property taxes. So he said you do not want to do that. That would be terrible, especially since you're a nonprofit. So you don't want to leave this place. And I said, okay, well, what if we bought? Because we were talking about expansion. We said, I mean, we want to grow the school. We want to add, 10 more classrooms and increase it. So what if we took some of the funds from the church and some of the funds from the school, and we made a down payment and we built a new facility that we could expand into? What if we did that? And he said, nope. He said, you're not even close. He said, it's 1.7 million. That would be if you, and that was 1.7 was a mortgage. And he said, you have the money to put a down payment down, but that's what we would recommend. If you're going to do it, do that. And you'd be paying about 1.7. Okay. Currently it's 625. So a big part of why our school is successful and why the tuition is where it is because that number is 625, not 1.7 million. And you have no choice. You have to have a building. So if it's not here, it's going to be double to triple. So the symbiotic relationship of the church and the school is a blessing to everyone. It's a blessing. It's not us and them. It is together. My heart is John 17, is that the world would know us by our love, and that we are one, and that unity is what turns people's heads, and they say, wow, it is unified. I 100% agree with you, Ms. Price, that it hasn't had a track record of that kind of unity. My heart, what I am trying to accomplish, working hard and diligent to always be pushing, always, anywhere I am, here, anywhere, is to see unity, is to see us working together. And that is what I want to see happen. That is the outcome. And it hasn't been that way. And I am sorry that it hasn't been that way. And I am not perfect. I have not done everything that I can do in order to model unity myself. I haven't been at every thing and plays, but I have tried. I've been at some of the things, school life. Is there more that I can do? There is. Is there more that I want to do? There is. But what I know is that the Spirit of the Lord dwells where there is unity. And I want the Spirit of the Lord. I want the Spirit of the Lord in this entire place, in every ministry that we have. And so I take it seriously. I will fight for the unity, and I will fight for the alignment. It matters. And so this is my heart. And this is what I have been advocating for. And so I want you to know tonight, the reason, I had a whole bunch of things, but the whole point in talking to you, I'm happy to answer questions. I could do this as long as you need. My whole point is to tell you that I love you and I care about you, and that you are helping my children, and the children that are in the community. And what I advocate for all the time is to help children. We gave our lives to fostering and adopting 6 kids. It's like I have my own little children's ministry. And we have a heart for kids. So my vision is for our church to be 4,000 people, reaching more people in the community, and our school to be 1,000 students. That's what I want to get to. I don't know if we can get there without the blessing of God if we're not unified. So we have to have unity. And so this is unfortunate and it's hard. And all I can do is share my heart. I do believe fundamentally, it's just that what this comes down to is just philosophical, alignment, leadership, vision, differences on how to get there. So that's my heart for our school. And I want you all to know that I will fight for you. I will help you. And I want you to feel loved. I want you to feel appreciated. And I know I'm the bad guy right now. I totally understand that. And I'm sorry that that's the case. But yes,
I'm somewhat of a new.
sure.
I mean,
Yep.
I moved here from Georgia about almost 4 years ago now. Went through the same thing. I was the administrator though. And so and the unity is a huge thing. We did not have that. But we can preach unity, but it's got to be built on trust. And I think that right now is where we're struggling because, and please don't take this, I didn't want to say it because I don't want to sound disrespectful. I sent you an email one time. You didn't even know who it was, and I was your child's teacher.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me when you say, I love you and I'm gonna fight for you and all this.
Yeah.
When it hasn't been that kind. I know there's many, I've had 2 girls.
Great.
This, has come into my room several times. So I've been building relationships with them. But at the beginning of the year, I was excited because y'all came in and prayed with us. We're going to be there. We've gotten emails the past few years. They're going to be in lunch and all these things. And it didn't happen. And so for us to listen to all this, that trust isn't there because it's not been built. And I want to believe you. I want to believe that you desire everything that you said. I've built that relationship with Ms. B.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I can't build that relationship with you if I can trust what you're saying. So I'm scared too, because it's like a mirror image of what we just went through.
Mhm.
Is that money that the school has built up, is that safe? Because what happens if we have another COVID or we have something else? And that money that's been set aside
Yeah.
because of good stewardship isn't there because it's been squandered.
Sure. On the finances, so my degree is business management. So when I was called into ministry, I didn't go into Bible school and like a traditional track. I felt called. I had an academic aptitude, they said, for business. So I said, I want to be a pastor and go into ministry. They said, don't do that. There's no money in it. You should go into business and then do your church stuff as a hobby. But I had a calling for it. So I made God a deal. I said, I promise you, I'll go into ministry, but I don't want to be the kind of pastor that I have seen before that doesn't know how to administrate and doesn't know how to budget and doesn't know how to market and doesn't know how to handle people and care for people. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that's a good steward and a good preacher. I want to do both. So my passion, I used to be an executive pastor. So my portfolio is more handling all of the things in the weeds and making sure everything is in alignment And I'm a nerd that way. I love that stuff. Now I have to step back and I have to learn how to lead at a different level. So the finances is important to me. And I brought recently to our elder board a desire to implement a financial policy that puts like um, levels and approvals of funds. We didn't have that in place previously. So that's something that I initiated, literally like on myself. So now I am accountable up to a certain amount of money, per year, a certain amount, there's a maximum that even I can write a check for. That all of our pastoral staff, they all have been given this policy. They're all required to do that as well. And so, and that's something that we put into place in order to assure what you're talking about. It's not just one person that can just make all of their decisions. So, and we're working on that policy for all of our ministries. So anyway, I agree. I just wanted to say again, I'm sorry that I didn't know who you were. And I do ask for some grace because it's hard to know everybody and to be able, even in the church with, 1,000 people, I say hi, how are you? How long have you been to the church? To people who've been here for 30 years. It's like, well, I've been here for 30 years. But it's hard to know everybody. And so I just want to tell you that I'm sorry, personally for that. So this to me is an opportunity, to do this better, to be able to know you all and be able to take this opportunity, to push the relationship forward. So that's what I would like to do. And I talked to my wife and asked if she could put this little card together because my heart is to just start with something really basic. And so we picked a day. I mean, it's always hard because you're not everyone can make every meeting, but we just put it out there. Saturday, July 26th from 12 to 3. We're just going to be here and we really just want to have like a picnic and invite you and your families to come so that we can begin doing this, fellowship and get to know each other and talk more and just develop that trust. So, I mean, it is a picnic. Does that fix everything? No, I'm not saying that it does. I'm just saying I want to try to do things to try and help.
Well, with all due respect, it's like you're tone deaf to what we're saying. You call us a ministry. I've been here 11 years and I can't recall a time that the church has poured into the ministry. I've been a pastor's wife for going on 20 years now. We don't charge a single ministry at the church operating costs or anything. And I understand we're here a majority of the time, the $625,000, the statement that it hasn't increased, that's just not true. We had to hire a day porter when Hamby's left. That's a salary, that's an increase. I think we're going up 200 and some, over $800,000 is what's in the new budget for our parents to pay in tuition. And whether we have the money or not, that's not the point for our ministry. We put over $1 million back into the facility, the playground, the half of the roof, the parking lot, the locker rooms, the gym floor. And when I read a letter that your church sent out saying that your tithes paid for that, that's disgraceful. And it doesn't sound like we're a ministry. We're not asking you to put money into us. But when I sit across from two parents this week and one looked at me and said, I'm a single mom just trying to make it. I don't agree with what's going on. I called the church. They're lying to me. I'm pulling my son. Or someone looks at me and says, our tuition right now is more than our mortgage on our townhome. A townhome. they're paying more in tuition. When I spoke with the headhunter, you know the solution? Raise the tuition on your families. Mrs. Burnett made $90-some thousand cuts to our budget. To our budget. So you could raise it over $800,000 in tuition. That's not a ministry. When we walk around and see the new screens, the flashy things and all of that, and Mrs. Burnett is still using Pastor Paul's furniture, her armchairs are scraped and stuff. I still have nasty carpet in my office, nasty carpet in her office and in the main office, because we don't want people to see we're upgrading, buying all these new flashy things on their dime. Parents are not happy. And Hank asked me, what is a point? It's this increase. And we in full transparency have to tell them that, okay, tuition might not be increasing, but I'm sorry, some services are gonna have to be cut because the church seems like we're a piggy bank.
Yeah, so,
And there's nothing you can say that will change that. And having a picnic is tone deaf to what we're saying.
well, you don't,
If we're cutting, I'm assuming you're cutting, right? Yes.
yeah, that was my point before.
But are you, if you're cutting, then you're buying all these flashy things to bring in the youth. I mean, I go to
It's not
Park
funny.
Valley and our church,
Wait,
I'm sorry.
no, let me answer your question. So, okay, I can answer all this. So,
But it's just the
so
visual
what
versus the
can I answer?
words don't
Oh,
match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't
So
match.
the flashy things. So, there was money in a savings account for the church that came from selling off these poles. And so, there was some money put, into an account. We used some of that money to be able to do some of the upgrades. It wasn't enough. We just used some of it. When we got the grant for the ERC money from the tax reimbursement, we used some
What's
of
the
that.
ERC?
What's that?
ERC.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I say?
You said ERC.
You said ERC.
What is it?
You said ERC. What does it mean? What's the acronym?
It's an employment
It's
reimbursement.
COVID money.
Yes.
COVID money.
So when
Supposed to be
that's,
sent on teacher's
yeah,
salary.
so the government had a grant that they gave to organizations that were, that stayed open during COVID. And when so kind of like to reward you for staying open, when we stayed open, we were paying the employment tax as an employer.
School stayed open. School stayed open.
Yeah, no,
The church was not open.
The church was not open, the school.
Did you spend the ERC money for the church or did we get?
So yeah, people are going to jail from this paying
Yeah.
dollars
People-
now.
yeah, okay.
So we would like to know, what did you spend the ERC
So-
money on? Because Pastor Bob, we came in, we wore masks. We had our students 6 feet apart. We were open every single day,
Yeah.
but the church was not.
Yeah, okay, so the school received money from that. And the things that you mentioned that were done came from that money.
So the school gave the church that money for being open.
So in my opinion,
I just
the building it's not an us and them. The
It
building,
is an us and
I'm trying to say, I believe that we are one. And so so when you put,
So now
And you
what you're
spent-
saying is the school's money is the church's money.
what I'm,
That's what you're saying. If
the-
it's all one.
the
You have to
school-
understand how we see this, Pastor
Yeah.
Bob. That's how we see it. If you're going to take the money that is
I didn't take.
delineated for the school and
Didn't
use it for the church.
It was graciously given because we believe in the ministry of the school and rewarding and helping the facilities be better because the parents pay sacrificially. And I know this has nothing to do with their tuition, but during that time, they were paying that tuition. And the Lord blessed us. We did that playground out there and we invited the entire church staff to come out there on the playground because we wanted them to see God blessed us. I thank the couple of you that came out, but most of you wouldn't even go inside the gate. Wouldn't even go inside the gate, and we prayed over that playground and blessed, like, thank you, God, for this. So when we hear this, this is God's money. This is God's money,
Yeah.
and it's not
I'm
being
just-
used appropriately.
I'm just
It's not.
saying that those funds came to the school. They went into the school account. Miss Burnett made a spreadsheet. I met with her. We collaborated on the different
Right.
needs.
We're in
And
agreement with
then
that.
those monies were spent on the things that were on the list.
So why did a letter go out to your members saying their tithe money
Yep.
paid it?
So
That's false.
it's a misunderstanding
It's,
because what,
that's not true.
so when every
It's not
year,
true.
so here's my explanation.
Wow.
Is when I send out letters on giving, I always send out a letter halfway through the year and then one at the end of the year, thanking our people for their giving. And so one of the things I've just learned over the years of doing that is that it's important, because sometimes I get flack if I leave somebody out. And so if I'm, writing the letter and I say, your giving included this for the youth and this for worship but I forget the outreach. And someone comes in and says, well, how come you left me off the
But
letter?
the tithes had
So-
nothing to do with that.
So,
And
okay,
that's deception to your
so
church members.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
It's not what I feel, it's the fact of it,
Okay,
Pastor Bob.
Okay, so.
Like you lied
I-
and said your tithes paid for that, but that was a blessing from the Lord because the school was open and we were here sacrificing with masks
Yeah,
and teaching
okay.
and parents were paying, even though they might not have had the
Well-
money to do it, taking out loans to be able to make sure their kid got a Christian education.
Well-
And for you to put it out that
Well-
your tithes blessed it, that's
What
false.
would happen
That's
if all the
false.
tithes went away?
You would still have the school as a piggy bank. You would still
Wouldn't
have the
have-
school.
You wouldn't have school. You would have, if all the tithes went
That's
away,
not true. We pay enough to cover the mortgage, the lights.
I
We
just,
do.
no,
I had to look at the numbers because I have to make career decisions.
so,
And for our staff to be able to leave here and go across the street and make double or triple, when we hear the church is taking more money, put it back into your staff. These are quality, high educated Christian people who view this as ministry. None of them are here for a paycheck. None of them.
yeah. So
Put it
my,
back into
okay,
them.
my.
But the church is taking
Yeah,
it.
my point is that I believe that if you took all of the tithing away, I mean, they pay for me, they pay for pastors that are here to provide leadership. And the school is a part of the ministry of the church. And
The school
so,
is not a ministry. It's not.
well, I think it is a
It's in
ministry.
word, but not in your actions.
So-
I'm thankful.
And I think,
Yeah.
can I just,
Yeah.
because we weren't here 30 years ago. So when you go through the bylaws, 30 years ago, whoever started church and the school made it that way in the bylaws. That the school is a ministry of the church.
I'm saying, and
And
it
so
it
it's a
is in
ministry of
word.
the
It is in
church.
word.
Everything is under one account, one
Yeah.
organization. If you go to the government, they don't look at us as school and church separate. It's all one thing. We're all on the same land and the same building, and we all have been given stewardship of all of the land that we have.
Yeah.
You guys use it, we use it. And what I see is that we all need each other. I can't minister to youth if you guys aren't here and function. You can't function as a school if we go away because it's one account. So when an organization is one and it closes, everything is done, everything closes, and you have to start all over from scratch. And I can't sit here and hear the slander because Pastor Bob might not be like,
Slander,
but-
gossip,
but-
one word. It's not
excuse me, I'm
slander.
talking.
It's not slander.
I was
You're not.
respectful, I
But
was
you're not
respectful in allowing you to
accusing of
speak.
slander.
Listen, I moved my family halfway across the country
I did too.
to work for this man.
I did
To
too.
work for this organization, to answer a
Yes, I
call,
did.
okay? To answer a call when I could have been in the Midwest making double what I make
All
now,
of
but
us
God
could
called
be.
me and I
All of us
understand
could
that.
be.
So for you to sit here and say that we don't understand that
You
is
don't.
false. It's false.
You don't.
We are all here because God has called us here. We are here. God has called Pastor Bob here, the board that runs both the school and the church, who lead him, who he answers to, who technically we all answer to. That's who leads our organization. I answer to the board. He answers to the board. You answer to the board. Everyone in this building answers to a board that's been elected by the church body, because again, that's the constitution that's been made.
And we're all in the same boat.
And we're all on the same team. I have 5 kids here. I've brought my 5 children here who have struggled in school, because I'll tell you, East Coast education is nothing like the Midwest. They've had to catch up. They've had to learn how to live differently. They've had to do that. And I know that they're not the only kids.
But how much money does your family put in for tuition? How much does your family sacrifice for tuition?
Here's a question, does every ministry,
It's
because
zero.
does
It's
every
zero.
ministry put in, because we're talking about ministry versus rent, again, this is not,
Right?
I'm even from, it's not my ministry before. And this is like, so the youth ministry, do they pay those amounts back in? Just because if it's just that's a ministry paying back, then does every ministry pay back a percentage? Or is it just school? Because then it is rent school, if it's just.
It's,
No, can you say it again?
So if we're saying, and again, I'm coming from my administrator side and my teacher side.
Yeah.
Because we went through the accreditation and all that.
Yeah.
If we're saying that it's not rent for the school because as a ministry, we're putting that in, does every ministry do the same thing? Are they given a percentage of their budget to do the same thing? To pay back because they're expensive, because if not, then to reimburse for, like, yeah, so then, if not, then you have to go back to, it's not reimbursing, it's rent. I mean, and I'm just going back what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the ministries don't make revenue.
I think the way to.
But we're-
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that it functions is the school pays their portion. And from the top, the church pays their portion.
Right.
And then whatever comes in from tithe and offerings.
Yeah,
is
then
what
we
we
pay
use.
the rest, yeah.
Fairs.
It's fine.
Hi, speak to you as a brother in Christ. I've been in your position. I've been an executive pastor of a large church. I served as a project manager for building a Christian school. I've also been a senior pastor, so I appreciate your heart. I do. But at the end of the day, and that's all I'm gonna say, because I have to leave soon. Church isn't about buildings, not about parking lots, not about TV screens, it's about people.
Yeah.
And Ms. B is a person that we're aligned with and in touch with, and I just would petition you to try and work out something as best as you can. There may be a fallout that no one's expecting. That's all I'm saying.
We would like.
I would encourage you to do that.
If you can do that, I mean, that's what we would like. We love her.
there needs to be.
And we are
reconciliation.
We are, and our
We are
school's
family.
very healthy.
Yeah,
I've been
the
here
school's
11 years too, and it was not where it is now. Since she has come in, our school, our staff is healthier than it has ever been. We are one, we are unity, we are in classrooms when we know something's going on with one of our teachers. We don't hesitate to jump in if a teacher needs to leave because they're sick. We don't hesitate it doesn't matter what's going on in someone's life. Someone says, I need you, we're there. It doesn't matter if we have to come in early. It doesn't matter if we stay late. It doesn't matter if we work through our breaks. It doesn't matter. We are a family. So bringing in and saying that our school you want our school healthy. Oh my goodness, so our school is healthier than it's ever been. It is a joy to come to work every single day. It is also a joy to know that I have an admin team that when I'm facing one of the hardest things in my life, I can say for a bunch of you, because I'm friends, that I have faced one of the harder things in my life, and I can sit in Ashley's office and they're on their knees praying for me. And not only on their knees praying for me at that particular moment, I'm getting text messages throughout the night that they're praying for me. Text messages in the morning that they're praying for me, that make it so I can get out of bed and I can come here, and I'm the school counselor and I've got to serve 600 kids by myself. I'm the only school counselor. And you talk about it takes a team, it takes a family. We have a family. We are healthy. We love each other. We support each other.
Sure do.
And that woman Miss Burnett and Dr. Lane are the reason that we are together and we support each other and we're united.
Yeah.
So we are begging you from the bottom of our hearts to talk.
Bigger than-
Fix this.
Bigger.
Or, you know, you say, you do your best and you do everything you can, and she says it's just not going to work, then you know what? Don't you go looking for somebody to take place. Talk to us about who we want to take the place.
Oh, no, I intend to do.
Offer
that.
to,
That was
Doc-
just
Yeah.
listening to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that.
what means, have you offered it to Dr. Lane
Well, we're not, she's going to be, and anyone
or Mr.
is
Lee?
open,
who we
yes,
Trust in,
yes,
that we can still come
Yep.
into this building and say,
100%.
hey, I
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
you being in charge. And
100%.
I know that our schools
Yes.
in good hands.
Yep.
So
Yes,
you're offering it?
I'm saying that we'll have a search committee. Okay, and then we're going to have
That's
a,
what your search committee.
no, there will be a search committee. And made up of the key people, okay, and then you'll also have, there are, well, we haven't, I know, we haven't, it's very new yet. So, but we want it to be collaborative. We want there to be a committee, so, and then I also would like, I mean, because you can't have, 30 people on a search committee, but I would like to get input from all of the key people who we need to hear from. So I would like two committees, a search committee, but also, and I don't know what to call it, but like, kind of like an advisory committee that all, of all these key people that we listen to and, bring what you want, your priorities, all that up to the search committee so that all the people groups are represented in the search. So that's the intent. So at all of our folks would be able to apply to that. Yes, so yeah,
Yeah, I like to just share a
sure,
perspective here.
yes.
So I'm gonna look at the book of Acts, and when I look at the book of Acts, there was a problem that Paul and Barnabas had. When I look in Titus, I see Paul telling Titus, hey, I've got something else for you to do, so you have to leave, and we're gonna send in these other guys and they have to do this. I'm bringing this up because separation and moving on and all these kind of things happen. But, and I know you guys, because you guys are teachers here, I just coach here. I know you have a heart for your kids, but please remember, the gospel mission is bigger than today, next week, a year from now, 100 years from now, if God tarries that long. So as you are sharing these things and wanting this open communication and having these conversations, remember at the end of the day, at one point, at some day in August, because I don't know when school starts again, we have to come back together and we have kids that we have to minister to. So let's not get, and I know this is hard because we all have personal relationships here. We all have our different opinions, but you know what? That mission that we have all received from the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that kind of trumps our personal issues and our personal feelings. And we have to take a moment. I know we got to breathe. I know we got to be upset. I know Peter and Paul, they had that little, we are going to go through this. But let's not forget what the real thing is all about. Because there are going to be kids coming in here, they don't know anything about Christ. And that's our job. There are going to be parents that walk through the door with their kids and maybe mom does and dad doesn't. He's our job. And that's it. And I know that that's where everybody's heart really is. Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
I think that's where everybody's heart is. So let's keep that in mind as we're going through this very emotional debate and discussion. And when we walk out the door, we may not all be on that sheet of music so far as what's going on, why this happened, what's going on with the money. Okay, But when we walk out the door, it needs to be about one thing: Jesus Christ crucified. Okay.
It needs to be done with truth, though.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
to be done in truth.
yeah.
And love, truth and love, truth and love, because this here, it's not gonna fix. Oh, I know. You know, why don't we call it prayer meeting? Why don't we?
Well, that's also on the agenda, was to
Get
spend
together.
time tonight and pray
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
That's something
yeah.
that we want to do, that's on the list of
Yeah.
things. that
Should we do that? I mean, just because it's late, the 8:30, we could close in prayer together. Yeah.
It's important to a lot of us that, part of is being together as brothers and sisters in Christ is another opportunity for you to go and work with Mrs. Burnett and see how the two of you can resolve the differences. As far as I know, the school is a successful ministry. And so I don't understand the thinking of why you want to monkey around with something that's going well, and it doesn't matter, because what we want is it to be, you guys to resolve things. But that's important to us. And if you don't know why she doesn't want to come back, then that's something to find out. But also, if you have a feeling of why she doesn't want to come back, and it's something that both of you are digging your heels in, and maybe you can prayerfully consider, because we've been doing great. I mean, we have kids that are getting full rides places. We are ministering, and we want to minister to the kids. And it's very important to us to remember about these children who come here for emotional support and spiritual support and academic help. But we want to do that, and we have a leader who's helped us to accomplish that.
Sure.
So, and I know you want day-to-day, hands-on, but it sounds like that there are a lot of other ministries that also are calling for your day-to-day help. And
Oh, yeah.
we've got somebody who's day-to-day doing great for us,
Right.
So perhaps that could take
Yeah.
place, and even including Dr. Lane in that, because I think that as ministry and then your board or whatever, because if we're gonna unify from there,
Sure.
and show us what it is to come to an agreement and be able to really work together for the kingdom.
Well, the trick will be is right. It's unity around the vision of the church.
But is your vision just you want day-to-day control? Because if you
No.
make it seem like that, and you're talking all about money, I mean, what else is she doing wrong?
That's one thing that has a macro impact. So I think that I mean, you guys know. I mean, I'm not coming in your classroom. I'm not dictating anything. I mean, if anything, I've been accused of not being present enough. Not that I'm in there controlling things. So that isn't what I'm doing or my heart. But I do have a vision, and I have to say, as the leader of the organization, it's my job and my responsibility to be faithful to the vision of our church, and it can't be for sale. I can't be like, change it or and so that's the part that's hard for me is when in a conversation, that's what we would need to talk about I'm okay with someone that because I would do it myself, and I have done it myself. Is if I work for a organization and I find that I've come out of alignment with the leader, my own integrity pulls me out of that. And I have to say, I'm not going to stay here and try and, change something. Or if I find that I'm not in alignment, I have to go somewhere and allow someone that is to be in that role. I've done that myself. So when she explained that to me, I mean, I told her, I said, I am sorry that this is happening. It is a surprise to me. But if that's the reason, then I said, that should be the reason that someone steps away is over vision. If you can't be in alignment with the vision, I don't think it's good to be, in a position. And so
Is that
so
what you're
because
asking?
that's what it was stated, because that's yeah.
But is that what you're asking us to do?
So that's the hard part for me
If
is,
it's in alignment with
Yeah.
Mr. Burnett's vision, and that vision is not in alignment with your vision, then all of us would have to part.
We just have to leave.
That's what you're saying. That, in your analogy there, if we are in alignment with our leader, who's not in alignment with you,
Yeah.
then none of us can be here.
And that's the scary part, because that's what
It
I've been
is.
thinking. Like, okay, if he's not in agreement, if they're not in alignment, and alignment is serious.
yeah,
And I know you said you answer to the board, I answer to the Lord. So I pray before any decision, because I don't want to put my emotions into it. But it hit hard. What happened that Miss B sent this email to us, and she's not now in alignment when I followed this woman? So now it's like, okay, well, what do I do? What do my family and I do?
yeah. All I can tell you is that I have told you, answered all your questions. What I haven't.
Haven't told us what your vision. We still don't have the vision. The question is,
Tiffany has.
you haven't answered that question.
What I think is that we have the three things, the
Money.
excellence in education and right, and the Christian,
Already did.
right, yeah,
But
that's not a thing, right? But then once we start going down the road of working together, and what I'm hearing is that you said the policy manual, and she told me that, and the increase in the budget. Those are the two things that, and I am surprised. I didn't think someone would step down over that. Like, I think all that. I don't, I just,
There's more that you're not telling us.
well, I think I don't have anything else.
So may I say something?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, sorry.
When you were saying vision.
Yep.
Rebecca too said, Lord answer me, write the vision, make a plan of how to make run things. Sir, we are asking for donation, because we cannot run if we don't have the vision. The people of Israel followed Moses because the Lord gave Moses on those two tablets. He gave them the law. That's why they followed it. Yes, following them, sir, led to some issues. The Israelites always didn't honor what the Lord was giving Moses, what the vision was. But if you want us to be, which is something that you've repeated a lot in today's meeting, then you need to give us a vision so that we can run and not faint. Because right now, sir, you are the person of the Lord has aimed to be in position over the school. Is saying she can no longer do it because there's an issue with the vision or the alignment. So we are asking you, sir, for the vision of the church, because at one point, the vision of Christ Chapel was to be a team. Thus, the church's vision and the school's vision was in alignment at that time to lead and teach. That
They
was
were
the
the
vision.
same. They
It
were
was on,
the same.
it was the same. So it was
It was the same.
easy for admin, staff, even for me as a little kid coming to children's church to understand the vision, because it was a scripture that I could understand at 9 years old.
Yeah.
So now, as a teacher, and under your somewhat of a headship, I need to know, sir, what is your vision? So that I, underneath your shepherd, can run and not faint. Because, sir, we are going to run and faint if we do not have your vision.
That's really good.
Break them down.
Yeah, no. It's good.
That was, yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
Was
Read
the
it, Joe.
that
The
Pastor
written
Rogers
possession.
and Mrs. Wolf established when they built this school in 1992. That was the vision of Pastor Roberts and Mrs. Wolf.
Yeah.
Then it was also put towards Pastor Paul. And yet, when new leadership comes under, there is a vision. And Miss B established that for us. Some of the things she said was she did not want to be private school light. She wanted us to minister. She wants us to reach these children with the gospel. Because, sir, when we get to heaven, we are held accountable for all the lives that we impact.
Amen. Every child. The same
Every
way you
child, we
are.
are held accountable. And I do not want to get to the gates of heaven and have Jesus say, Tiffany, what did you do wrong? So, sir, We are asking for your vision, sir. We are asking
I,
for
I,
you to lead us well, sir, so that we will run and not faint. Thank you, sir.
yes, no, thank you. That's awesome.
That's gospel.
So, I go back to the vision of our church. So the vision of our church is to share the hope of Christ with the world. That's what the mission that Jesus gave us. It's to share the hope of Christ with the world. It's to seek and save the lost. So the whole reason we're here is to seek and save the lost. 80% of the kids that come to our school, I was told, so you have to tell me if my number's wrong. But I was told that 80% of the kids that come don't profess a faith in Jesus Christ. So, not true?
Not 80%.
Okay,
That's not
what,
true.
sure, what
That's
do you,
not true. Most of our,
Help me.
a lot of our families go to church.
okay,
They claim to be Christians. They
Okay.
claim Christianity.
that's what Ms.
Not
Burnett told me.
80%.
But we did have 7 salvations this year
Yes.
in the classrooms. We did.
Amen.
Yes.
And,
We did.
and so for the school, our goal and mission is to seek and save the lost. So there's 3 purposes that we see in scripture to carry that out. One of them is worship. And we all know that's not just singing. That's living a life of worship to God. And so we worship at our school. We have chapel services. That's one of our primary strategies for worship. And we're going to continue doing that. We're going to
Please show
try.
up to them. I encourage the pastors, please show up to them. Those students lead from the stage with the gifts and talents that the Lord has given them. Staff doesn't lead that. That's student led. Please show up to them. They need that encouragement and to know that their church is supporting them. Please show up to them. Please make time for it.
So for that, I know that in your classrooms, I know that you have a curriculum and that it's not always, you're working things in and being opportune and finding God moments and trying to lead the kids to the Lord when God opens the door. But, when you're in math, the primary objective is to teach math, right? So,
Through a Christian worldview.
right,
Through a Christian worldview.
yes. So, but my vision is that we would be able to do that, and connect the dots for the children so that they can understand why math matters to God, why history matters to God. Yes, right, I know. And so that's great. And yes,
So you're giving a vision for the children. What is the vision of us as leaders? What are you requiring of us as leaders? Because what you're explaining, sir, that is within our job description. That is what we are asked to do as teachers from preschool 3 to 12th grade. We are asked to implement this in everything through our lesson plan. In our lesson plan, there is biblical integration. We already do this.
Yeah.
From the moment we walk into the building to the moment we leave. So again, what is your vision for us? Not for what we do that is already required of us as teachers, but for us. We cannot lead in darkness, sir. We cannot.
well, as leaders, it's modeling to the children, with the words that you speak and with your actions. It's serving. It's living and modeling a Christian lifestyle and worldview. But I do think, what's relevant to this conversation is modeling, unity. And so what I want from our teachers is just to be unified, with the entire church, because we're one. So what we have to talk about moving forward is just what does that look like? Ways for us to be more unified together, as teachers, as staff, as volunteers in the church, so that our parents and those that come on Sunday see everything that we do here as unified. And so it doesn't mean that we're all gonna agree about every single thing, like you were saying, right? Once you walk out the door, then you gotta be unified. But the beauty is we all have different, perspectives and ideas. We listen, we're open, we work together. That's what I want. I don't want, I don't want, arrogance. I want humility, right? Humble leadership. The Bible talks about that. I'm not worried about advancement and promotion of our school as long as we are humble, because the Bible promises that he will promote the humble. So as we model humility to one another, God's got us, and the parents will get that, the community will get that. And as we love one another, I mean, that's humility. Humility also is just, I think, saying, I don't know everything. I mean, just, it's a posture of being teachable, open. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just describing that would be that's my ideal. I mean, if I was to go tell someone about our school teachers, that's what I would want to say is our school teachers are full of humility. They love the Lord. They model their Christian walk. And we work together. It's just the working together part is the part. We have the departments, hitting on the cylinders. We have those things. It's the coming together. And I think there is spiritual warfare around fighting for the church and a school to work together, especially if a large percentage of the kids that are coming are that don't know Jesus. The last thing the enemy wants is for a church to have influence over kids. And so I think that, I mean, as a pastor, I'm just saying, I pray for that, and I'm sensitive to that, and I am trying to advocate for that working together in unity. So yeah. Is that not okay?
That's here, I shot the cat.
So I would ask you, I would go to Mrs. Burnett and say, what part of what Pastor Bob is saying do you disagree? I think that's,
Well, I may have to ask her that.
yeah, because
You should have
that's the part that
already
I
done
hear a
that.
lot of.
You should have already had a
Pastor Bob, but Pastor Bob, I was there when he got the phone call. I also know Pastor Bob has had many conversations with Ashley, and Hank has been in those conversations as well, where she has said, do you want me here? And Pastor Bob said, I absolutely want you here. And she has committed to be here for a number of years. And that is the context of which both of these men met with her on a regular basis.
Okay, so
And
what
so
was
let
being
me-
done that caused her to say,
So
do you
that-
want me to
and
be
so-
here?
So let me say, so when he got that phone call, he was very surprised. The number one thing that he said to me, we have to do is honor her decision. He said, she told me she is excited about her new position. She told you that on the phone. She felt that that's where she was supposed to be going. And he said, if this is what her desire is, we need to honor that. That's the right thing to do. We may be disappointed, he told me. We may be sad, but we need to honor her. So that was the context of which he received that resignation. And that was the context of which he responded respectfully to her and said that we're sorry to see you go. I was there. I was in the room.
And this is where I don't want to speak for her.
No,
Yeah.
but it has to be,
Yeah.
because what has to be said is he has been a part of a private school church relationship in 3 different organizations for 20 years. This is not new to him. He didn't just walk into school churches working together. He's done this for 20 years. So there is a history. He has mentors that regularly talk to him about how to do this well. It's a priority of his that I see as his wife on a regular basis. I've also been there when Ashley and him have had some of these conversations, and I can tell you that he has done nothing but affirm her and tell her he wants to support her. So the questions that you're asking about, what have you gone to her and said, and Debbie, you can shake your head, but you're not in these conversations. So he is standing, Hank can speak to what I'm saying. He has been in these conversations and I have been in these conversations. So my question is, I think it's very important to ask her where she does not feel an alignment to what Pastor Bob's saying. Specifics. I would say to her, if this bothers you, I would say to her, and he has contacted her and asked her for specifics. But if you say to her specifically, what part of what Pastor Bob is saying are you not, the budget is one piece. We can identify that easier. But that would be my ask, is that, and Dr. Lane, I will say this on the record. Dr. Lane has had a problem with us since our kids have come to school here. So I appreciate that you have working relationship with her, but from day one, so
When
I
you
just
dress it, you do
would
not know
ask,
me,
I
and
would
you do
just,
not want to open
that's
that
okay.
can.
They did not.
Do not open that.
I'm just saying,
Come on.
like an
Do
opportunity.
not get in order. That
Yeah.
was fine. You're out of line.
You're out of line.
Out of line.
Okay.
Not your shit, everybody.
I just like to say one thing. I surely hope that those of us that it's spoke out.
Yeah.
or maybe have differing opinions,
Sure.
that we don't go searching through personnel files and take action.
Oh, no.
Or take adverse actions against stuff because that has happened in the past.
Oh.
underneath you.
No.
So.
No, my,
please don't
part
do
of,
that.
part of what I wanted to say was, that, I mean, I want you to feel that everyone's job is safe, that, you know, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, I would beg you, right, to stay and to stay on this mission. And I mean, I want you to be here. So I don't want you to feel, in any way that, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be here or be let go or any of that. We're not doing that. So, and I wanted to say something that you remind me of, that the church I came from, that was a church that oversaw a school too. And I was there for 13 years and they did not die. They grew. And so there are models. I understand maybe there are some that you're familiar with that it didn't go well, but like if you call ACSI and ACTS and you ask them about all of the schools that they accredit, there's lots and lots of examples of churches that have started schools for the purpose of discipling children that are not going under. So, and it's just not it's not like a foregone conclusion. I also want to say this church has had this structure since the beginning. Nothing has changed and I'm not changing anything. There's nothing that is changing. Everything is the same. So we've already talked about the policy, I think. So we're done. If you want to end, pray. Okay.
Let's pray. Let's pray and ask the Lord to guide our heart.
Okay.
All of us.
Because at the end, we're all Christ followers.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been here 25 years, 26 years. So we have all been here. Yes, honey, I know. You keep saying that, but I just want to say one more thing before we go and we can pray. And I think this is what we see, Mr. Bob, is that we sacrifice. It's what some of them were saying. Our furniture is falling apart. You can't even move a bookcase without it falling apart. And we see everything, all the brand new furniture, all the screen and all the stuff that money is being spent on. I don't know whose money it is. I don't know if it's the schools. I don't know if it's the churches. I'm not administration. But what I see when I walk in there and, you know, a few times we walked in, we've had chapel and I'm responsible for the elementary chapel. And we would walk in and there's wood everywhere. And we have parents coming in that are watching their children run the chapel. And the sanctuary is a mess because of what the church has been doing or these things. And these are the things that we see so there's no trust that has been built between us because you tried to have me fired. And
That is a lie.
that is not
Did I ever try to get her fired? No, that is not true.
You-
That is not true.
That is
That is
true.
not true.
And
And I would love
so,
Yeah, we just
let's
wanna,
just,
there's this reason that.
That's okay. So we could talk, we come to my office, and we can talk off of the mirrors and we can hear more. But we really wanna just pray together. Yes, yes.
If you guys are trying to spend money on buying screens, like, trying to trash things. No matter how much of that you buy, it's not gonna get into their hearts. Because what really matters is the work. And I can tell you that from experience, being at Parkway Church
Oh, that's good.
and from a Spanish church.
Yeah.
All the small things, and I'm on the worship team, so I understand you may wanna
Yeah.
put all these shows on. But as much as you put, and you fix up the churches, you make the floors look gold, it's not gonna get the heart.
No, if you don't have the presence of God, it doesn't matter.
And he says, ask Ashley, I did go to Ashley's and I sat down and asked her, so,
That's good.
I come all this, she is open door, she is, like, yes, you asked the question.